chorus 4 times playing.
Sounds sick,
Chorus.
we play it. I think it's 3 times like that, and then we play it 3 times.
It's like chorus, remember? Like that time. Play that like 4 times. Okay? 3 times.
Play that twice and do an open.
Yeah. And then we go to the breakdown.
You got. Hold on, stop. What?
Why do I go into that part?
That part you don't know anything. We do it just like. We'll probably put something there for the breakdown, but right now, just do a dun 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 and go to the breakdown like that.
Alright, how long is the breakdown?
You don't remember?
I do, I don't.
It's 2 measures,
It's
and I do. Then it drops.
You got it?
And then do another open for the fast part.
Then the open, then goes to the fast part. And that's me and you for.
Yeah,
okay, I got you.
So, not really.